Hey guys, so you want to come to the UK as a tourist. Here is everything you need to know. Now the biggest takeaway is for most passport holders, you can stay in the UK as a tourist for up to 6 months without a visa. Now, if you're not sure if that applies to you or your particular passport, there is a link in the description. The UK Gov website has a little quiz so you can plug in your passport detail, what country it is basically, and that you want to come to the UK to visit or to have a holiday, and it will tell you whether you can do that without a visa or not. From my understanding, for most passports, you do not need a visa to visit the UK as a tourist for less than 6 months. Now, what can you do as a tourist in the UK? Well, you're a tourist. So not that much. Basically, you can come to the UK for up to 6 months. You can visit family, friends, have a holiday, go on vacation, do a road trip around the UK, whatever, take the train all around the UK, whatever you like, you are a tourist. So you are allowed to do tourist things. Now there is something called a standard visitor visa. This is an actual visa that you apply for and you pay for, and it's kind of like a special tourist visa that gives you some extra freedoms, particularly if you are coming to the UK as a tourist often. However, that is its own thing, so that is not what we're talking about. That's a separate video. For the purpose of this video, we are talking about a tourist coming to the UK without a visa. If you come to the UK as a tourist, not on any visa, you're just a tourist, these are the things you cannot do. You can't do paid or unpaid work for a UK company or as a self-employed person. You cannot claim benefits or public funds. You cannot live in the UK for long periods of time through frequent or successive visits. So what it means by that is you can't be using this tourist option as a way to live in the UK long term. So if you are constantly coming to the UK for 6 months and then leaving for a day and then coming for 6 months claiming I'm just a tourist, I'm allowed to be here for 6 months, if you do that frequently, you are going to have a problem. As a tourist as well, one final thing, you cannot marry or register a civil partnership as a non-visa tourist. So what do you need at the UK border as a tourist? So you're gonna need a passport, of course, a valid passport or a travel document, and it needs to be valid for the entire time that you're going to be in the UK. You might also be asked to prove additional things. So they may ask you, why are you coming here? You're coming for a holiday. You might be asked for proof of your return journey home. Sometimes if they think maybe you might be staying here, or if you come to the UK often and they might think you might try to stay, they may ask for your return journey home. So that is simply like on your phone or a print off of your flight home or your ferry home or whatever. They may also ask you things like to prove your accommodation in the UK, to prove that you're able to pay for your time in the UK, and when you are leaving the UK. Just as a personal side note, when I came to the UK as a tourist, so way before I moved here, and I had come to the UK just for a holiday, I was never asked any of this extra stuff. It really was just my passport, what am I doing here, how long am I staying for, and then that was it. Not to say that your experience will be like that, but just something to keep in mind. One thing that I really want to talk about, just real quick, are eGates and how much I love them. Now there are over 270 eGates around the UK at various ports and airports, and I just think they're fabulous. So an eGate is basically an electronic customs check. So rather than queuing up to visit a customs agent, like a border patrol agent person, they have these gates, these electronic gates. So these eGates are available for, not everybody, but for those who have a biometric symbol on the cover of your passport. So there's like this little icon on your passport. If you have that, yay, that's good. You also need to be over 10 years old. So if you are 10 to 17, you have to be accompanied by an adult If you have a child under 10, they can't go through the gates. You need to speak to someone. But if you are over the age of, 18, traveling by yourself, you have a biometric symbol on your passport, good, we're looking good. And finally, you need to either be a British citizen, which if you're watching this, you're probably not, or a national of an EU country, Australia, Canada, Iceland, Japan, Liechtenstein, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, South Korea, Switzerland, or the US, or a member of a registered traveler service. So say for instance, you have a passport from America or Australia, New Zealand, Canada. You have a valid passport with the icon, the biometrics on it, you're over 18, you can use an eGate. So basically you scan your passport on like this little reader. There's a camera that you look at, and if everything is all clear, the gate's open, you go through and that's it. Sometimes they will pull people over from the eGates. So say you are eligible to use one, you go up, it says go see an agent. You will then have to get in line to speak to a customs agent. I absolutely love eGates. They make traveling so much easier, whether you are a visa holder or you're a tourist. It's just, I love them. One hot tip though, expat tip, moving to the UK tip. If you are arriving in the UK for the first time on a visa, I would recommend speaking to a border agent first. They often need to stamp your passport on sort of the entry on the visa. Where you go through an eGate, you don't get any sort of stamp in your passport. Now things might change and maybe in the future you don't need that to start a visa. Humble opinion though, just to be safe, better safe than sorry. If you're arriving in the UK for the first time on a visa, speak to a border person rather than use the eGate. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about arriving as a tourist in the UK. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Definitely check out this one where I cover everything you need to know about public transport here in the UK. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.